World.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for a special news bulletin from
Twisted World, we're back with all my friends as always. Andy and Cody, what's up, guys?
Yo.
Up. And we're back again with our special guest, Mr. DJ.
Hello. Thank you for having me back. It's a great honor to be back in the bunker. It's still quite cold in here. I don't know how I got in here. They brought me down blindfolded. I was patted down. I still don't know who. It's okay.
It was me.
Yeah, I recognize you have small hands.
I
And
do.
it's easy.
I do.
And it's easy
Oddly
to
enough.
spot.
Bigger than children, smaller than women.
Because it's a good standard. Anyway, so thank you for having me back. This will be a rip-roaring good time.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you are back. I know since the JFK episode. Hopefully you've done your research for this one.
At the JFK episode, I was
pretty
very,
in-depth, yeah.
I was very 70. I was, like very investigator. I had like notes, and I was really trying to just solve the crime and prove to the
Hopefully-
public.
He had like maps. Remember that? He was
Hopefully
like, hey,
he's
guys,
more
look what I
prepared
got.
for this one. Because the last one, it was just off the top of his head.
Exactly. Today, I'm coming in with a lot of hot takes, a lot of hot. Goats.
I understood. I didn't want to acknowledge it until you were like looking
Oh,
around. You're like,
of course.
Well, no one acknowledged it. Thank
Yeah.
you, Cody.
I wanted to move past
tried
it.
Even
not
though you
to.
Yeah, I wanted
Let's
to move
address.
past it.
Even though you sighed deeply. Hey, listen, as dad jokes are just a part of life. Okay, what do you do?
They're
They're just,
Yeah, if you weren't
they're
dad jokes, go back and listen to
They're
that
a
episode.
necessity.
Andy was in rare form.
I was on form.
He had a plethora. He was writing a book at that point, so he had to dump them out there, get a little
If you're not sure what I mean,
market
you should go back
testing.
and
Yeah, go back
find
and
out
listen.
what happened to JFK.
Yeah. If you want to hear Andy's great dad jokes, puns about the president losing his head, then it's all there. All encapsulated within that episode. So, Mr. DJ.
Yes,
Not too far from getting married, my friend.
this is true.
Yeah.
A couple of months away,
You excited?
and it's actually good that we're talking about what we're talking about today, because I'm going to be moving into the apartment soon, and I myself fear for hauntings
Oh.
and ghosts and things of this nature. So it's good to really get this out there and get the information out.
So you're worried about moving in this apartment, possibly,
Well, anything is
Demons.
possibly haunted.
yeah.
We can't really confirm if it is or isn't.
Hey,
but
you don't know who died there,
everything could be possibly haunted.
right?
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting married soon, to answer your question.
Yes.
And I'm quite thrilled.
Nice. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So, with that, we're going to be talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren,
Yes.
the self-proclaimed demonologist of Connecticut and the foundational pinnacle of a multitude of movies, which we'll get into a little bit later as far as like how many movies and
Mhm.
their cases. But supposedly they got like over 1,000 cases that they've done.
Wow.
Does
I'm very interested in the topic of ghosts. I know we have some skeptics at the table.
Yes.
This will be quite fascinating. This is why I believe I was asked on, because I often ask people this question, which I will ask everyone here, which is, do you have any encounters with ghosts, ghouls, the supernatural, or the extraterrestrial? Any stories? Anyone?
No.
no.
No. Cody.
No.
Well, this is a disappointing round table
So,
because
whoa.
neither do I. That's why but that's why I ask everybody. Everybody I've ever met has like some crazy story about how they saw a woman in their closet when they were a kid or something. We were talking to a friend of ours recently who had a
Very
very
detailed.
almost borderline intense story that is.
Ghosts?
Yes.
I believe you were present for this. We asked a friend of ours about I asked this question to, and he went into
We
a
talked to
story
Chris.
that. Well, yeah, we asked Chris, and it
Oh,
was
that's right.
We
it was a
weren't
lot.
expecting it, but he asked that same question.
Yeah.
We talked about how we were going to be doing this podcast.
I ask
coming
everyone
up.
this question. It's
That's
kind of
right,
a
yeah,
fun,
And,
like icebreaker. Most of the stories are like, yeah, one time a door closed, and oh wow, and he had a very in-depth story that involved borderline possession. And I was like, well, this isn't very fun now. We've kind of lost the fun element of this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it went on. It went on probably significantly longer than it should have, and you're like, wow. I mean, I'm here.
and not only was
I'm
it
invested.
it was
Yeah.
so intense to where like I could tell
I
Andy
like
wanted to
stories
step
like that.
in and be like, well, what about this and this? But then it got like so intense. It was like, I don't really want to challenge him. I feel like he might fight me. So
He was,
Yeah.
he was a young man. He said when that happened, right? like
he was
still living at home with his dad or something like that.
That's what's fascinating about the Warrens is
that was an intense story too. Yeah.
it was because a lot of these people have these encounters when they're young, and who knows what's real and what's not. Are these people legit? Are they not? Are
They're
they
not.
Well, so there's a lot of evidence to prove that they're not. But there's also like,
I mean, I'm not calling our friend
Mhm.
Chris crazy. I'm just saying that younger
Everybody understands that
imagination-
you're the skeptic of everything. Like I firmly believe in aliens, and you don't.
Well, okay. I believe in the spiritual side of things.
Mhm.
So to
Yeah.
say that things couldn't exist, I think that I don't know the idea of deeming them ghosts and something's
I see what you're saying.
haunting, and I don't know. But as a spiritual side of things, I think it's possible. I doubt I'll ever experience it because
I mean, as soon as we leave, Cody's going to break out his Ouija board and talk to his friends. So it's coming. I'm sure.
He always seems to know how to talk when he dies in magic.
Yeah,
So
right.
he knows how to come back. He's a shadow priest.
Exactly. A necromancer, some would say. Everyone's always got a story, though. That's what I always ask. Because it's always like, and I've never had the encounter. That's why I can't believe this many people have
So
had.
you just want to
I
want?
So that's the thing. I want to have this encounter. As insane as that sounds, like, so many people.
So it's DJ with the Ouija board. Gotcha.
Yeah, well, I'm not like
Listen,
actively
bro,
like.
stop drawing pentagrams
I'm not
on
in my
the floor.
room.
It's not cool.
I'm not in my room summoning spirits. Yeah, sure. Of course, I put salt around the windows and doors, but that's because the Winchesters taught me that. It's Sam and Dean Winchester.
Is it
And I watch
cold in
Supernatural.
here?
Yeah, is it cold in here? I
Yeah.
follow obviously
It's
their
always
tenets.
cold in here.
Yeah,
I follow
well,
their
that makes
methods.
sense.
But no, I'm not doing like summoning spells in my room. I just don't understand how this many people have had so many crazy encounters, even like weird ones. Like I talked to one dude. One time I was in a room with like 5 or 6 guys. All of them had some story like this. And it's either everyone is a habitual liar or everyone has had something weird that they're interpreting. And I just don't have any. None. Zilch. Nothing.
FOMO.
Yeah,
It is FOMO.
It is.
It's totally.
It's
for sure.
totally FOMO. I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to be haunted.
Like I want this to be real,
Yeah.
or I don't want this to be real, but I still want an encounter of
Yeah,
some
make
kind.
me commit multiple homicides. Not really,
Oh.
but I'm joking.
DJ's like,
There's 3 of us
please,
in
demon,
here.
possess me.
Okay.
So I have a story. So my uncle.
Yes, here we go. See, stories. Let's go.
Well, no, I just think it's cool because I got to go and see this house when I was just recently there. My grandmother passed away, so I flew out to Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is one of the oldest states. It was part of the original colonies, and so there's this extremely old house that my uncle bought, and he was fixing it up because he's a construction carpenter. And when I heard the story originally, I'm like, all right, but I heard these stories and all these different crazy things that happened, and so and I took a video, which I'll probably post on our TikTok just to kind of add a little extra to this episode. But I went and saw this house. I mean, just the looks of it alone is like, I'm good. I mean, like you're either gonna die from a demon or you're gonna fall through a floorboard and the floorboard's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
So
Was it
day,
a
it was
possession or was it asbestos?
right?
These are the
Exactly.
questions they ask.
Yeah. So, I mean, one way or another, death was definitely rolling around in there. So the Warrens, they were both born in Connecticut. Again, another old state. A lot of old buildings, creeks and crawlies, and they both met, got married. One was a self-proclaimed demonologist, which is Ed.
Dead.
And
He's a little more far out. Like to live on the edge.
yeah, did you guys look up pictures of these guys? They're a little quirky. They're a little quirky.
That's
They
why I'm
don't
wearing my
look
old
as
guy
cool
hat
as they
today.
do in the movies, right? Like the actors that play them are definitely a little more
Hollywood.
aesthetically appealing.
Mm.
Uh,
They just look like old farts to me when I look them up. I don't.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
they're dead, so maybe they're
Yes.
they're
So they
maybe
look
they're
even
not
more like
spirits
old farts
themselves,
now.
right? So
No, wait, Lorraine's still alive, right? I thought Ed died.
They're born in
Ed
the
did pass
20s.
a while ago,
It says
but I
here
thought
they're both born in the 20s. I mean, my goodness,
Oh, well,
They'd be,
you know.
they'd be 100 years
Well,
old.
Lorraine is a psychic.
they're hunting
And,
something.
and she's not telekinetic. What telekinetic when you move
No,
stuff
yeah,
in
so
your
she's-
mind?
She's telepathic. She can read minds.
She's telekinetic. She's actually an X-Men. No, she's
Professor
what
X.
is it called when you can communicate with the
She's
medium?
supposedly a light trance medium. I tried to look it up
Oh, so
exactly
that.
what a light trance medium is, but
Well, that's more specific.
she's a medium and could speak to spirits, or
And like,
spirits speak to her, or something along those lines.
She dabbles in
Too many
divination.
Too many
per se.
shrooms and
There it
LSD, I
is.
think.
She's a divinist.
Is it
Yeah, divinist.
telepathic?
No, that's where you can read people's minds.
That's what he's talking about. Is the ability to, maybe not. Communicate.
Well, when you draw energy from the great beyond, you are a divinist.
Exactly.
You are practicing divination.
It's just a long line.
And that's what that's probably
I'm already
that's
done
probably
with
how
this
old she is.
conversation.
She's like siphoning the
That's
life
already.
from these
You
souls.
see, just let the silliness in, Andy. Just turn off your brain and
Embrace
pretend
it.
it's real. That way we
Embrace it.
can just
Listen,
we can,
I can let the silliness in.
All right,
This
let
is
it
a
in.
ridiculous conversation.
Well, we're
So-
talking about divination.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a real
There's-
word, real thing.
it is a real thing.
No,
That's a good pull.
It
I
is.
totally understand.
100%. So,
Ridiculous.
supposedly, though, they were Catholics, but
Yes.
they were not like ministers or
Don't hold
priests or
that
anything like
against them.
that. And I try to dig and figure out exactly who and when, but there's this thought or probability that the Catholic Church actually recognized them as exorcists.
Is there evidence to prove that? 'Cause I've heard the same thing. I've heard that they
I
were.
found there was a lot of conflicting information.
That's like their life story. It's all conflicting
It
evidence.
is, yeah.
Because it's like, some people say this stuff is like well documented. Even their cases. It's like, so if anyone doesn't know, like the Warrens, they would very briefly, they would like go around and they would do like exorcisms and they would like get just like in the movies in a sense, just much more scaled back. But they're going around helping solve. They're like the Winchesters,
They're like the
really.
Winchesters.
They really are like
Yeah.
the Winchesters. They go around solving ghosts and ghouls and stuff like that and demon possessions, allegedly. And the famous case is Amityville,
Amityville Horror.
which
yeah.
they've made like 450 movies out of.
Yeah.
All of them.
Tons.
I've seen 2 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. That's so much.
Well, and that's and there's a lot of movies based on their cases where they weren't necessarily like their names weren't brought into it. Like, so if you watch the original Amityville, it doesn't even mention the Warrens.
Yeah.
But they were supposedly on that case. Like they showed up and did their whole seance thing or whatever. And but it is famous. Everybody, whether you've seen the movie or not, most people have heard of Amityville Horror. Real house, real case.
Yeah, the case was the dad. Basically, dad snapped, killed all the kids.
Yeah.
And his wife, he killed his whole family with an axe.
Right.
And then I think like there was like, again, this is all hearsay. Everything is like, well, some people say this happened, some people didn't. Like some people say all the doors were locked and no one could have broken in, and he was acting weird the whole for like a month prior, and so they think that some kind of ghost was turning him. And, it's like,
Yeah.
but is that truth or is that lore because everyone has seen the movies a million times, and so sometimes lore blends itself into
Absolutely.
cultural truth. So that's the thing with the Warrens. Like their cases and the Conjuring movies are based off of them. It's like, does the lore of who these people are just kind of blend into the cultural psychosis where everyone kind of believes this stuff? I think some of that's true.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
even
that's how legends and lores are built, right? I mean, they say that there's generally some level of validity.
yeah, Robin Hood or something, they're like
Yeah.
ghost Robin Hood kind of.
Right.
Kind of.
Like King Arthur and Excalibur.
Yeah, exactly.
It's spun off real stories, but did he have a magical sword? No, probably not.
Be better if he
Yeah.
did, though.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But doubtful. And a magical wizard named Merlin.
It also helps the people who are under the king to understand that he truly is divine and pure of heart to be able to take that sword out of the stone.
Well, you
Right.
see it in everything. We're watching the Vikings right now, and Ragnar Lothbrok, right? Basically, this premise that he is not human, or that he's demigod.
Yeah.
That his whole family is basically blessed by the gods because they are part god themselves.
Yeah.
And it just carries on and on and on. And here I'm watching the new one, which is 100 years later, and that is what gives them their strength. Is these stories of these men,
Yeah.
divine in some way.
Yeah.
So I think it's intentional. The
Mhm.
question there is whether or not it's real, or if it's something
that's
we just chase because of the strength behind it, or the excitement behind
Exactly. So it's like the thing that, so I do, obviously I do believe in the spiritual side of things, obviously. Well, maybe not obvious to everyone, but I do believe in the spiritual side of things. And that's where it gets tricky, where it's like, I do believe to some extent of this stuff. Are they the real deal or not? Were they, with some of the stuff they did, have the truth to it, but got blown out? It's just murky waters. It's more, the Warrens are kind of like junk food. You kind of turn your brain off and not really dig into it. Because when you dig into it, a lot of holes are poked into it. You're just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, they're fun and they have their artifacts. I don't know if you want to talk about that. They have
We will. Yeah. There's
they have essentially jumped the gun. They have like a garage of all their artifacts that they've confiscated from cases.
Their house is a museum.
The museum.
It is. I mean, you if you look it up, and if you look up the picture of their house, there's a sign out front. I mean, like it is a legitimate museum. You can go.
They say some of the stuff is haunted, like the Annabelle dolls.
And demonic. I mean, there's. We'll talk about some of the fun items.
We'll get to that.
But the crazy thing is the Catholic Church, their local Catholic church where they go. One of the, and I don't know if it's priests. I don't know all the names of these leaders in a Catholic church, but one of these leaders in this Catholic church would regularly, and he went on record to say this, he would regularly visit the house to bless it so that these demonic forces would stay put, right? So they'd stay in check. He checked the bad things. So, again, they got this museum. I wanted to throw this out there. What do you guys think their net estate worth is?
See, this is where we're getting to the icky side of it.
It is, but it's the truth. You have to look at this. The reality is, at the end
part
of the
of
day,
it is because of all the movies or like the Conjuring movies. I'm sure they have some level of royalties because
and there's a lot of
stories
books
being told. Yes, books and stuff that I'm sure they've written.
So without looking at anything, just throw a number out there.
I want to say over. Let's say like 15.
Anybody?
Yeah, I was gonna say 20 million.
20 million.
Yeah, that's probably where I was at too. 20 million.
Yeah, $88 million.
88. They're scrapping.
88 million.
Is that before or after they died?
That's currently as of today.
Okay, sorry.
But they did amass a majority of it, of course, with the movies and things like that.
Yeah.
But they according to multiple sources, they never once required, collected, or asked for any kind of money through their cases.
See, that stuff. That's the Robin Hood
that's
aspect. Because it's like that stuff adds to the lore of them, which is like that's not provable. We don't know that. Could be 100% true. Could not be. But stories like that, it adds to that's the Robin Hood aspect of like, oh, and did you hear they never collected a single so that it legitimizes them in some way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. Takes them from villain to hero, right? Now
I'd have charged.
Right?
Yeah, especially apparently the work they're. I mean, if it's anything like the movies, had to be like, well, they require some compensation.
They had to have gotten something. You don't just run around doing. I mean, this is their lives. Right? It was what they were doing for careers. And
you make a good point. They have to have some kind of
they gotta
income.
have some kind of income. So maybe they didn't charge for the services, but they charged for equipment,
like housing.
Like I don't know. Like, hey, let's stay here. I don't know.
No, it's like we're going to cut out labor, but you have to pay for like housing and food.
Right. Just imagine like taking a day off and it hurts you because you don't get paid for it. There's no way these people drove around the country and try to solve crimes and didn't get paid for it in some way.
Ghost crime.
I would try to make movies too.
Well, the crazy thing is
exactly. It's like maybe we could sell this crap.
Yeah,
we've been doing this for 30 years. I've got nothing to show for it. Can we make a movie?
Yeah, I mean, their kids growing up are probably like, our parents are nuts, and now they're like, thank God they were nuts because they're chilling.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They rolling in it.
The other stuff I heard at Icky side of Ed, which Ed had I heard he was a bit of a player, a little of a Casanova, perhaps.
Oh, he liked the ladies?
That's what I've heard. Again, in my YouTube rabbit holes of watching videos about them. Usually someone like Ed and Lorraine Warren. And then they start giving all these facts about them. And then one of them was like, yeah, he was a bit of a Casanova, like the ladies a bit. So, but I guess if you're a professional ghost hunter, it's like, that's like,
gotta flex the clout.
Like, no, I'm saying like I guess the women are into that in the 70s, 80s.
Babe, she wasn't real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Babe, ghosts. Dude, come on.
She was haunting me.
I was pinned down and frozen.
She's from the Ghostbusters. No, that's not good. Anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about? Anyway.
Yes.
Babe, she's from the 1700s. She's been dead for 200 years.
Disclaimer, we don't want to be sued for defamation of Mr. Ed. So
I'm sure the Warrens are listening.
If he was liking the ladies. Yes.
Again, it's all hearsay.
Hey, I'll take that defamation lawsuit.
But all ghost stuff.
Right there. Let's do it.
Let's take it.
All ghosts and all that kind of stuff is
hearsay. We'll put DJ on the stand and be
yeah?
He saw it. So Lorraine is a medium.
Yes.
And can supposedly contact the spirit world. Now, this is according to, again, we I don't know how much hard evidence there is, but Lorraine claimed apparently that as a child on Arbor Day, and I meant to look up. Arbor Day is like planting trees and stuff, right?
What's Arbor?
I've never. It has something to do with like trees.
California.
I don't personally observe, but
I love trees.
shout out to anyone who observes Arbor.
Yeah. So, Arbor Day, she was planting a seedling, and as a child, she claims, that's why I'm assuming. But I hate this.
Whatever. So,
she claims that she instantly saw the tree fully grown, and so that was the beginning of her powers.
Her powers?
See, this is the stuff where it's not so fun.
That's all they put
Essentially,
in.
psychics believe that they have a power.
They have a power.
Because it's like, I can like really kind of stretch logic to be like, hey, who knows? Who knows? Maybe the door did close by itself. But like, I have a hard time with that stuff. I'm like, yeah.
So
sounds like mental disorder.
Yeah. A schizo.
Yeah. Sounds like the 70s. Didn't have the right medication for her.
So now this person, this doctor I'm about to mention could have been paid off. But in multiple articles, she was mentioned. A Dr. Thelma Moss out of UCLA wanted to test Lorraine's abilities, and after testing them,
she said they're off the charts.
She said,
"I've never seen power
this
like
was the funniest thing ever."
What she measure the midichlorians? What's going on?
Exactly.
I have no idea, but this is the best part.
Yeah.
I've never seen psychic powers.
She was on doc, and she went on record to say that she was well above average. Well,
what
compared to what?
Do we have a good rating scale of what average is?
There.
Wonder what that person's career looks like.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't say anything too controversial though. They were like, "Well, what do you think? Is she psychic?" She goes, "Well, she's well above average."
So if the average is 0, what?
On a scale of human to God, you're pretty average.
The average is 0. Yeah.
Hey, what?
That's great.
Yeah.
I picture like Lorraine sitting there. It's like got like some kind of helmet, like this thing's called where you put vegetables and stuff in the grate. Like a metal,
a colander,
like a colander on her head.
Yeah.
It's got wires.
Cauldron,
yeah, something like that. And there's someone in the booth.
A what?
And there's
like
like
colander. You're talking about a strainer.
Strainer, yeah.
That's what you know what I'm
What's
saying.
a colander?
That's the actual name of it.
That's weird. It's called a strainer.
The strainer. That's what I've always called it, the strainer. But yeah.
Either way, she's going in her head.
I was like,
California.
Yeah. Huh?
Guys looking at it is like.
That was in Ghostbusters, right? Like, they put that thing on his head.
Yeah, exactly, just like that. Like, this woman's above average,
off the charts.
My God. So we've addressed that. So that's real people. So now you know. So if you were skeptical, she's well above average with her psychic abilities. Convinced yet?
So I want to talk about Annabelle for a minute.
Yes, one of the more famous cases.
So in the movie,
Amityville, Annabelle.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I want to talk about Annabelle, one, is it's like in the movies, they totally make this doll look super evil. And then you go in and look it up in the museum.
Raggedy Ann doll.
The Raggedy Ann doll, and it's just sitting there. It's like, they just threw a Raggedy Ann doll.
Do you think, okay, here, do we think objects can have some type of aura about them?
Some kind of demonic possession?
You know what I'm saying? Like, to be like people always used to say when you were a kid, like Ouija board, don't play with it, it's demonic. You know what I'm saying? Do you think like objects of some kind, maybe not in the Warren case, can...
Let me tell you about Tickle Me Elmo. I swear that dude's a little demon. Like the Chucky movies, like
going off the rails.
Yeah, Tickle Me Elmo was just crazy, bro.
Like,
when it was just like,
are you just for personal experience? Or are you just scared of it?
No, I wasn't scared of him. I just thought he was evil when it came out, like pure evil. It just didn't seem right.
So you're talking about like watching The Exorcist as a and just absolutely loving it, but Tickle Me Elmo scares him.
No, it didn't scare me. I thought it was evil. You asked me if there was an aura about the objects, and I'm just telling you.
Well,
like,
let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go back to
Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah, because I'm curious to see
like the Ouija board. The Ouija board itself, to me, is not.
No, it's just a board with letters.
Yeah,
on
no,
it.
I agree.
It's the idea that you are yourself trying to connect yourself into a spiritual realm.
You kind of
or
open
to
yourself
play with
up
things
to
you really shouldn't play.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I think of like objects, I mean maybe.
Yeah, I don't. That goes back.
We talk about like the idea of demonic possession. Could they, possess something that's inanimate? I believe they could.
Yeah.
Who knows? But why would you?
Exactly.
Trying to get like a Chucky doll or an Annabelle doll to go walking down the hallway, like that would be my pants. If I saw a Raggedy Ann doll like chasing me down the house.
Yeah, well, that always goes back to the question of any of these like ghost hunters, ghost stories, haunted artifacts. Like, why? Why would?
Yeah.
What is the purpose of these? Someone comes and they say like, oh, my house, and I heard someone say, oh, the record player turned on automatically. I shut off. No one was around. Certainly weird. Sure. What is what's the purpose of that?
I think it's an anchor, right? So an anchor is something where we talk about. I'm going to use it with Johnny Depp and the Heard case is going on right now, and she's my favorite part of that one. There's a bunch of those, but one of those is where they're questioning like the maintenance guy, and he's in his car, and she's like, do you remember what makeup she was wearing? He goes, no. Do you know what her hair looked like that day? He goes, no. Do you know what she was wearing? Like the clothes that she was wearing? No. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, why would he? None of those are anchors for him. But if she had a black eye, he would remember that.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's an anchor to the story, something that would allow you to remember that time the thing happened. When we play games, big moments like beating a boss are anchors, but beating like the army of little dudes outside aren't.
Yeah.
So something like that becomes an anchor in a story because it
it's out of the ordinary.
Validates it in some way, and it allows you to remember. It's the thing that had the height of the moment. So if the record player started playing, that becomes an anchor.
It's like people live predominantly ordinary lives, and then something odd happens. Even if there's a logical explanation for the oddity, your brain automatically goes to, well, it must be something supernatural or strange, or like you said, it's an anchor. You remember more because it's something out of the ordinary.
Right, but the item itself doesn't have to be.
No,
odd,
I don't.
Right?
No, I get what you're saying.
A doll or a record player.
The situation of like this happened out of my ordinary life, and it stuck with me, even if there's an explanation. My thing is like, if it was a ghost, what is it like? Does a ghost have time? Like, if there are ghosts,
have time.
Like,
He's got a meeting.
That's my point. It's like, or like, what is the purpose of turning on the
possession?
I don't know. There's just often these things are so low scale. It's like, maybe I don't know, but that's the thing because I
you
also
ever notice though, it's like the people that you look at them and they're like, they're collecting checks from some state agency, watching The Price is Right all day, and then all of a sudden it's them that get possessed or haunted.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's never like
low income, poor, impoverished areas.
Never like there's like it's almost like their story they have to have a story of some kind. And,
this is true, but
everybody else is too busy.
The experience we had the other day when we're talking to Chris is a great thing though, because I've asked enough people this question. Is that it can be anybody? You think it's just like, oh, it's usually a certain type of person.
That definitely changes.
Tells ghost stories. Right. And you're like, and we all know that person. It's like, yeah, of course, they have a ghost story.
Yeah,
they have all kinds of stories.
Like,
but then you'll meet someone in your life that's like credible, and then they'll look you dead in the eye and say, like, no, I saw Henry V in my living room, and you're like, well, I trust you, but you know what I'm saying?
The only argument I make there is that, and I agree with you. Like,
I'm not saying it's true.
Chris is a credible person, so in your mind, you're like, I immediately go to thinking like, okay, it's somebody with mental health issues, or have any of you stayed up 3 or 4 days without sleeping? Like,
yeah.
You hear it's all bad. All the time.
No, there's
so your brain is not programmed to be that way. And a lot of those situations are, I was working and I'd been working for 3 days straight. No sleep. But all of a sudden I came home and my record player started. I'm like,
but you're right. You get those one-offs. You get those individuals that are like, they're transparent, they're straightforward, honest, and then
I'm telling you, more people you think. If you just ask, like, you ever had anything weird happen to you? Like, and I know that's broad, but most people have some like weird. Like, I have one weird story. One, it's not a ghost thing, but I know probably what happened, but then.
There's always that 1%.
So here's what happened. When I was a kid, I was in my house. Everyone was up. It was around like 9 o'clock. We're late night owls anyway. So the whole family was still up. My sister had moved out at the time. So my other sister was in her room. My dad was in his office. My mom was in the kitchen. I was hanging with my dad in his office. All right, I'm going to go to bed. So I walk to his office. I walk through the kitchen. Night, Mom. Go in my room. I go in my bed. I feel like I'm in bed for like 2 minutes. And all of a sudden, I hear like, bang, bang, bang. My mom had if anyone knows, like a pots and pans drawer that was overstuffed.
Yeah.
So constantly stuff would fall out of it.
Everybody can relate.
So I heard smash, 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 smash. So I went, oh, my mom opened everything, fell out. Well, I just got to bed. I walked out. No one, everyone was asleep and all the lights were out. So my logical explanation.
And where were the pots and pans?
Nowhere. Nothing happened.
You just heard, but
there's nothing in the kitchen and everyone was asleep.
Oh.
So there's 2 routes you can go with. Number 1, I can say ghost encounter. Number 2, I probably fell asleep.
Started to fall asleep.
My thing is,
in your imagination.
So I probably dozed off. Dream state,
yeah.
Dozed off. Then kind of woke up. Time had lapsed. Everyone was asleep.
Could have been aliens too. Just saying.
Like 100%. 90. Actually, you know what?
What
did you say? Aliens? Wait a minute.
What do you think he said?
Notice, for the record, that my question, I say ghosts, ghouls, extraterrestrials. So aliens are open. Let's go. I'm just kidding.
It was someone going into the back door or back room.
It could have been, but the point is, you can go 2 ways with that story.
The back room.
Did I fall asleep, or the illogical option is were there ghosts? I usually choose the illogical option because it's fun, but I'm grounded inside. I know I probably fell asleep.
I've fallen asleep to wake up thinking I've heard the loud noise or something and go and like sit up, and my wife go, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I heard something." And she goes, "I didn't hear anything." And I'm like, "No, I definitely heard something." And you get up and you walk down and nothing, and it'd be nothing.
Yeah.
So my mind state is that I'm in a dream, and
and we're not going to sit here and say that it's not feasible that demons and whatnot exist, because especially if you have some level of belief in God and angels and things like that, then you also believe that demons are real.
Oh yeah, it's the ghost part. I believe in all of that. It's the ghost part where we're now ghosts.
Well, that's because ghosts are always explained as like left behind, wandering.
Cultural. It's like
back to Ed and Lorraine. If you look at their cases, back to Ed and Lorraine, if you're watching the movies, they specifically say, just like maybe like the King James Bible would say, that there aren't ghosts, but these are demons, right? So that's why like Ed was a proclaimed demonologist.
So we've been talking about ghosts. We're not even talking about the right thing. Yeah, exactly. Even though everyone calls.
Yeah. So even you watch the movie and the people are like, "Ooh, they're ghosts," and they're like, "No, they're not."
That goes back to my point though, of like if the record player turned on by itself, is that the demon's master plan to turn the record player on and then never talk to you again for 15 years? I don't know. It's always like stuff like that where the stories are interesting, but it's like on the grand, like just seems like an innocuous thing.
Think about if Cody was a demon. I mean, Cody just does the most random off the wall things, and I could see it. You know what I mean? Like,
I can only see when
I'm gonna switch this on, screw this guy. I'm gonna go down the street.
I would totally do all that stuff. I mean, if I'm just chilling in the afterlife and I have to be here, I mean, yeah, I'm messing with people. I mean,
salt him right now.
I've got nothing else to do. What do you mean? What am I supposed to do? Just I got to do something.
Cody would do it for the lol.
And if my minor power is to move small objects, I'm totally going to abuse that.
Because so here's
that's my only thing I can do. Totally.
I haven't been watching a ton of Supernatural lately. What is fun about that show,
I'm preparing, guys. I'm watching some documentaries.
No. Yeah, I've been watching 15 seasons of documented evidence. No, what's funny is like they do explain some of that stuff in ways you're going, ooh, maybe. Because not most of it now. But like the one how they do about ghosts, like the reason it takes a lot of energy for them to move stuff.
Or to be seen.
To be seen.
So most of the time, moving things is the extent of their energy.
Because it's the most...
they're able to see them, it's because they are exerting all the energy they
and then they disappear again.
To be seen.
And then, so like, obviously, so there's two parts of my brain. There's the kind of, obviously, the real part of my brain, but then there's the side that likes to go, I mean, that's interesting thought. Writers who write Supernatural. I mean, maybe Cody is giving all his energy
to start the record player.
Yeah,
through some poor soul.
What does that even mean? What energy are they pulling from?
Okay, again, that's when you go into it. This is all baloney.
It slowly recharges.
Don't make me say what I want to say, which is all baloney, and I know it. But it's like, I don't know. It's kind of fun to.
Also, are ghosts and demons the same thing, or are those different? And because
theology says
we're talking about
they are that it's really
separate entities.
That there aren't ghosts; they're just demons.
Ghosts are more commercial, I want to say.
They're more mainstream.
They're not really tied to religion. It's that idea that they're left behind loved ones. They had an attachment to Earth.
Ghosts,
they weren't quite ready to move on to whatever the afterlife is.
Ghosts are human, right? But demons are not. Yeah. Demons are something else.
Humans still around.
If you go back 100 years before there was TV, nobody else had anything to do. These people sat in their homes and made a living off of claiming to speak to people's loved ones, right? I mean, it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds of years, right?
Yeah.
So they claim that, oh, you lost your husband unexpectedly. I can speak to him. And they amassed, small fortunes doing this stuff.
Yeah, the idea of ghosts.
People want to be able to, they want to know that one, there's an afterlife, and two, they want to be able to talk to their loved one. They're like, oh, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. I want to know that I didn't get a chance to say sorry for yelling at them yesterday or whatever the case may be. And so that's where this kind of ramps up, right?
Yeah.
And people want to believe that their dead loved one is kicking it with them on the couch watching Price is Right.
Or like a lot of these cases, in the Warrens case, really any of the like famous companies, it's always in like locations where troubles happen. I do think there's some truth to that because I feel like there is like
auras and energies in these places for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to go like crazy with the auras and stuff, but like it sounds goofy to say auras and energies, but I do believe there's some like spirits of like there is like if there's like a house where like horrible things happen, I feel like there's some type of I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm saying? Like
it just feels funky because like
Yeah.
if somebody who got
There's an
if
aura.
there's a mass murder there,
the
you're
question
gonna be like-
is that
you're gonna-
my brain is telling me because
Yeah.
I know what happened here. If I went in this terrible example, and I know sound out of taste, but like if I went to no, I mean it. Like if I went to Auschwitz, like visit, but I didn't know. No, really, like if I didn't know what happened there, would I have the same reverence, or even like would I feel a certain way when I went to parts?
you know,
of
there's
the
people
camp?
that think that never happened, right?
That's yeah.
What never happened?
Yeah.
What?
The Holocaust.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Don't
what the?
go there. We have gotten to 27
See,
episodes.
I was nervous to bring this up because I knew someone was going to go there,
27
and it was Aaron.
episodes, and it was not me.
It was not me.
It was not me.
I knew that was going to happen.
Cody. Can you back me up here? Are we?
I mean, I can
Uh,
vouch for the idea that there are people
That
do
believe that. I
not
think they're
believe
insane.
in the Holocaust. Yeah, well, or that they
Right.
do believe that the Holocaust happened, but it was on a much smaller scale.
I'm just
6
saying-
million's a big number.
I'm just saying, back me up that we know somebody. I mean, we know somebody, right?
Bro, really?
Here's what I'm gonna do. Hey, I'm gonna take it back. A fake scenario. I shouldn't have said Auschwitz. A fake house where 10 people got murdered. If I didn't know that 10 people got murdered
Yeah.
there,
No.
if I went in there, I'd probably not think anything of it.
Correct.
But if I knew that, then your brain tells you like it's the same thing. If you think you're around someone with COVID, you start to feel sick.
Yeah.
Your brain tells you, "Oh, I think I got COVID." You know that whole thing. If I know
Absolutely.
that someone died in the house, now all of a sudden I'm like, your brain's telling you there's a presence
everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
working
100%.
going through a prison, you have this heavy weighted feeling of
Right.
oh god, like what happened here? Oh,
Yeah, the
solitary,
weight. I
right?
guess that's the
It's
good
a
way to
weight,
put
but
it.
that is self-induced in my opinion. Like I think that because we know kind of what we believe happened or
Yeah.
went down or those types of things,
Yeah, no,
that,
it's a good
you
point.
know, it carries it a little different. So I don't know how
Yeah.
spiritual that is.
No, I do. I lean more that way. It's like I think it's most of it is that, 'cause especially in these cases. I mean, we've been talking more about the supernatural, but I guess that's what happens when we talk about the Warrens. It's like
Sorry to cut you off. Did any of you at any point in time when you were kids like get up in the middle of the night and walk through the house when it was dark?
oh yeah, like the story I told.
You,
Yeah,
you remember like
Yeah.
the feeling of walking through
Exactly.
and
A
not
lot of it's
knowing what was
psychological.
around the corner, and
I agree.
very psychological. But I remember like feeling like you were pushing through something
Mhm.
to get there. Again, I still think that's just
Yeah, so you're
imagination
talking
and
about
fear. And,
that's what's about these cases. It's like you're saying a lot of it is in circumstances of like low income areas, something where they're stress related, maybe the areas like there's just a lot of
There's
things that
variables,
could
yeah.
be psychological. I guess my point. It could be in your head, like just subtle things that your brain does make you feel like, and maybe I don't know. Are they snake oil salesmen? I lean towards probably yes, but does that mean or did any? I don't know. I really don't.
I think that all ties again into mental health, right? The idea that maturity, young age, and incidents, and
Yes and no, but there's so
experiences.
many experiences that people have that it can't all be. I just don't know the gauge. Again, we're talking about things. In my opinion, that's like there's so many stories, and it's like you can say a majority of them are probably in your head. It's like I mean, all of them are because I've heard some pretty good
Well, and that's what I was
cases.
gonna,
Maybe not for ghosts, but definitely things of spiritual aspect or stuff that.
and
know what I'm saying?
again, I'm gonna say I don't necessarily not believe that there isn't demons doing crazy off the wall stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I've never experienced it personally, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's not that it's 100% fake. I mean, Andy may have another thought on that, but
as a believer, I think the idea that there is a spiritual thing side that you can connect to, I 100%
Yeah.
believe in that. And
Mhm.
having been to a third world country for mission trips, seeing
crazy stuff,
some
right?
stuff where it makes you question demonic possession.
Mhm.
So speaking of like items being in possession of demons and things, I just want to touch on some cool items
Yeah.
in this house. Okay. So this house is a museum. You can go there. You can walk through it
Be cool to go
apparently and see it.
Huh?
It'd be cool to go there.
I feel
It
like
would
you'd
be
have
cool to
that
go
feeling
there.
that we just talked about, though.
You would.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
It
that
looks
would-
creepy. You can look at it. You can look at
100%.
pictures.
I can
on it. It looks
see-
like eerie as all get out. But again, it's 200-year-old home or whatever the case
Yeah.
maybe is. But one of the first cool ones I saw was there's a samurai suit in the house.
Oh, suit of armor.
Suit of armor.
That's
Nice.
nice. Dude, did they?
Yes.
Are they like?
See, I knew it.
It's like
That's
Scooby Doo.
cool.
It's
It
like,
is
did they
cool.
take it with a samurai ghost and now like?
So you ready for this? Supposedly, when you get close to it, or if you're connected to the spirit world, if you get close enough to it, you can hear the screams of the people that the samurai massacred.
But that's the thing. That's interesting. But it's like if you tell someone that beforehand, when they go close to it,
messaging.
they're going to hear the scream.
Yeah, I think a true experiment would be
If I just
send
went
someone in
into
that knows
this,
nothing about this, and see what happens.
that goes back to the thing. It's
I
like
just want to see if
sometimes
I can
people
buy
have
the
these
samurai suit. I'm
experiences
down.
without that thought. It comes out of nowhere. But it's like, yeah, if you told me like, hey, if you go close to the armor, you're going to scream. And then I went close to it, it's going to be in my head already.
You're going to be listening.
And then you hear something weird, you go, I think I heard a scream. Well, the cat could have walked by. You know?
Yeah, there's things to explain those things away, but there's also examples of items that have been imbued that are on the other side of the spectrum that we believe are imbued to this day too. For example, the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
Right. So the Ark of the Covenant is imbued with some sort of spiritual energy, right? Because when you are
you play the trump card.
I'm telling
the
you,
Ark card.
Dude,
always.
the other side of the spectrum. So like, it has the ability to kill you. You know what I mean? And there's so many different imbued items in there.
I don't know that it has the ability.
Dude,
I don't believe that it has the ability.
Are we going by Raiders logic or real life logic?
I think that it was a punishment.
Raiders all day,
Lord,
bro.
Yeah, if it's by Raiders logic,
the item itself that did it.
No, sure. The item alone, I'm not saying that items alone have that, but there is an energy that imbues those things to be able to have that effect on things.
That's the thing. It's like
that's where I argue. See, I don't believe it has anything to do with the item.
No, it could be any item.
At all.
It doesn't have to do with that specific item.
It has to do. Well, I'm talking about that specific item.
We're flying to Connecticut.
We're
going to put Andy in front of the suit of armor, and we want to hear what.
Hold on, I want to hear it. So you're saying you think it's all a psychological thing that?
Well, no,
okay,
I'm not always saying it's psychological, but I think that when you see things like a record player, the record player itself is not haunted.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
Okay. If we're gonna go down the theory of something is not the item, I don't believe Annabelle doll is possessed. I think that something may be near it or be around it that can cause those types of things. I don't, but the point I'm saying is he talks about the Ark of the Covenant. In the Bible, it talks about when it starts to slip, they try to reach to grab it, that person dies instantly. And it's that representation that they're trying to essentially help the Lord or protect this thing when the Lord doesn't need protection, whatever. It's not the item itself. I know that's kind of that's the.
So you're saying you think it's there was more the kind of the symbolic meaning of what it meant to touch it, and then they were smitten because of that. It wasn't like, oh, we actually touched the type thing.
I don't believe that the item killed the person. I believe that it was.
Well, sure, it was the energy around the item that killed
them. It was not the energy.
So the Nazis didn't die on that island when they opened it.
You're memeing, dude. Are you Cody right now?
Yeah. I believe that it's just there was a punishment from the Lord on that.
I'm not trying to be a fence sitter. It's like, but I see both sides. It's like I see validity in that 100%. It's like, but it's also like it's hard when we're talking about things that are beyond our understanding,
right?
Especially if you have it like because I believe in God. It's like I already am willing to have faith. Not that I have faith in you know what I'm saying. Not that I have faith in ghosts. It's just maybe there are like Cody's saying. Maybe an item can have some type of aura or something that is. What was the word you used? Imbued. I lean a little more towards the Andy side, but I don't know. The fun part of me, like far away, like, oh, well, that's kind of fun to think there is. It's like up close and personal. That's not so fun. That's kind of scary.
Yeah,
that's quite scary. Yeah. Like it's fun to watch those movies. Like that's what a horror movie is.
DJ's future wife's listening to this episode, going, "Oh, great." So I'm going to marry this guy, and he's going to be doing seances in the living room.
No, not even that. No, because I do obviously think, like Andy said, when you open yourself up to that, that's when you're getting, again, the Ouija board is just a Fisher Price toy.
Right.
It's like you're opening yourself up to stuff.
They made millions off that.
I'm saying the person that created it was like, this is ingenious.
You know how easy that was?
I mean, I had a cousin that used to do heavy drugs. No, on the real, they always say
Ouija board.
No, but
that's probably not a good mix.
They always talk about when you're doing like very heavy narcotic, you're like your brain opens up to all kinds of stuff. Yeah. He used to tell me stories like that, you know, because there's ways I think you can open yourself up to your world, and so it's like, are they items? Are they places? Is it the intention of what you're doing? This is all vague stuff that we have opinions about.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's ancient civilizations that would dabble in, you know, your psychedelics like mushrooms.
I thought you were going to say the crystal skulls. I was going to say, let's go there, bro.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's talk crystal skulls, brother.
Oh, that's a whole nother story, and we can do that.
Yeah.
I'm down. But, because, you know, I'm aliens, right?
Yeah.
So, what's that?
We've referenced
love
both
it.
the
It's aliens,
best
bro.
and the worst Indiana Jones in this podcast,
Yeah.
which is Raiders and anyway,
It's
sorry,
necessary.
Ancient Civilizations. What are you saying?
So and they would consume mushrooms because they would believe that it would open them up to their gods and things like
Mhm.
that, and psychedelics, right? So, same concept.
Yeah.
So my next fun one, pearls. Anybody know ladies that wear pearls?
Well,
Yeah.
wait.
I mean, I don't know any
Pearl necklaces?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
what
guess,
pearl
yeah.
necklaces are.
Yeah. So
Old people.
apparently, there are this necklace. It's called the Pearls of Death.
See, this stuff
You ready?
sounds. This is the stuff that ruins the warrants
What is-
because it sounds like the House of Wax Museum or something. Like
Cheesy.
it's corny.
Oh,
Like
House
the
of Wax.
Pearls of Death. Come look at them. They killed 14 kids. Come look at them.
So they supposedly strangle the wearer. So you put them on and they
Yeah, now
strangle you.
we are going the Winchester route now. This is Sam and Dean Winchester stuff.
Hey, I don't. This stuff is there, so I'm not making.
Yeah, I
this
know.
stuff up.
You're presenting the info.
This one's fun. If you've ever seen Nightmare on Elm Street or know anything about Freddy Krueger, they have a doll called the Shadow Doll that is said that if it's like near you or in your room or in your home and you go to sleep, that it enters your dreams and kills you. Yes,
I just
Freddy Krueger in a doll.
see the object. You're losing me.
I'm just
Because
telling
I
you what's
don't
in the
know
house.
what's
I
out
don't
there in
think-
someone's. No. I'm not saying it's you. I'm saying like in general. It's like once I hear that
It
stuff,
starts to discredit, right?
I don't know if it's discredit though, because again, it's like not like hard proof. It's just that inner thing in
How
your
can you
gut.
prove it?
That's my point.
How can you prove it? You've died in your dreams.
No.
You fall
I'm
asleep,
that's what
die.
I'm saying.
Like-
That's when your gut kicks in and goes, "My gut's telling me
Right.
cap." But then the other side of my brain that goes, "How can you disprove it?" Oh, you know,
You
fun.
can't. I mean, and
you
that's
can't really.
and that's why,
Which is
there's
what makes
skepticism, of
which
course,
is
on
what
one
makes
end,
the
and then there's
best
other
snake oil
believers on the other.
salesman. What makes the best snake oil salesman is you can't prove it, but you can't disprove it.
The bus,
you're
what
going-
salesman?
The snake oil salesman.
Snake oil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like
You're right.
there's a chance that they are. There's a chance that they're not. Yeah. Are they really going around and confiscating these haunted artifacts?
I'm just mad. I didn't think of this business plan a long time ago and made $88 million.
Well, many people have. You know who Zach Baggins is?
No, tell us.
You ever watch Ghost Adventures or
No.
Ghost Hunt? Okay, so my supernatural and ghost. So I'll watch like the True TV, and everyone is just sat back and like, all right, let's hear it. Like I'll watch I'll watch all
DJ
those
just
shows.
Sat up, crossed his leg, and he's like, "All right,
All
let's
right, here's
rock
the thing.
this."
Zach
It's about to
Baggins
get
is a
serious.
self-proclaimed ghost hunter, and clearly, like he's
Do you have
about
to have a
his.
degree for that? I don't understand.
No, it's like one of those travel
Are you
or those
licensed?
sci-fi shows where he goes around and hunts ghosts.
He holds this paranormal camera in his face.
Yeah, it's
Act
the whole
scared when
thing.
he's in a
It's
dark
it's the
spot.
whole thing, and it's terrible, and it's so fake that it is. I'm about to show you a book or a picture of him. I can already tell if you're listening, you don't know who Zach Baggins is. Just type in Zach Baggins book and then type images.
So what is his show called?
This is his book.
Yeah.
It's called I Am Haunted.
Oh yeah,
You see
Yeah.
that cover and you get the gist.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a racket. It's a show, obviously, but it's like, yeah, there's a formula.
like Vegas
You
magicians.
go into a house, you have a shaky camera.
Exactly. That's
Kind
what
of
it
got the
looks like.
David Blaine look, right?
It
No,
looks
it
just
is.
like him. Yeah.
But it's his business. He goes in, there's a shaky camera, you vaguely see something, they cut to commercial break, they go back and it left. But it's just enough to get you to go, if I squint, maybe I did see something. And then they cut to commercial and then you don't see it. And then that's basically an episode.
Why do you think a low budget film like Blair Witch Project did
Yeah,
so
there's
well?
like 20 seasons of this
Because
show.
that. But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is when Blair Witch came out, it was cheap, but it left this mysticism, and people are like, "It's real. I heard it's real." And then all these stories. Granted, it's a real place,
Mhm.
but it's not some
Yeah.
lost footage from some.
Well, that movie is all because of the marketing. Because
Oh, they did it well. But that's
yeah.
what that is.
No, but this is at a point where you see this in your brain, like I by no means think it's real. Everyone sees that, and it's
What
like
he's
you're
saying is there's a following. There's
Yeah,
a
this-
following.
Of course.
There's people out there. That
people
are,
laugh watch or like if I watch it because I'm there to laugh. But like when Blair Witch came out, the way the marketing was and it's early internet, and
But
you're
it's targeting those same people that watch that stuff and fully 100% believe it.
I don't think it is though. I think Blair Witch is different because Blair Witch marketed itself as supernatural. That it's really more. I think the end thing is like there's a witch in the woods.
It's
like a
paranormal.
No,
a
it certainly is. It
demonic
certainly
spirit,
is. But I'm saying like it's more what we were saying earlier about ghosts are more mainstream. It's like Blair Witch is like a mainstream movie that they're marketing, and the gimmick was, oh, they act. This is like first found footage. Wow, they found this footage. This is real. Like we're gonna go see real footage that somebody found. Now, like the gig is up. Like nobody's watching these things and going, like, oh, this is clearly found footage. It's pretty obvious.
Paranormal Activity 6 came out, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah,
all
like
right,
the gig
where
is
are
up.
all these videos.
The gig is up type thing. Whereas Blair Witch came out
the whole time.
Do you guys like? You quick question. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You guys like horror movies?
Do you
like horror movies?
Absolutely.
I know you do.
Yeah,
I like them. I don't watch them much anymore.
Yeah, I don't really watch them much anymore. I do enjoy them.
I do not like them, but I have watched a few.
That's Cody. That's the Cody answer.
You know what kills me about horror flicks?
What
is there? And a lot of times there's some of the I think most well written stories, and they never win awards.
That's because not everybody likes a horror movie.
Yeah,
it's a niche.
Yeah, it's a genre pick. Genre pictures
point of view, it's
but well, now we're going into the movie talk, which is genre pictures don't win awards for the most part. In majority.
I dig horror flicks.
That's not a genre that predominantly does.
I dig them.
Like video game movies probably won't win an award even if it's really good. They just don't.
Yeah, I think it depends, but we're not going to go down that route again.
Well, no, I'm saying I'm not saying because it's not good. I think they like.
So what was the question about the horror flick? You were just wanting to know if we like horror flicks.
I was just curious. I was going to say, what's your favorite?
Oh man.
Nervous to say your kids might be listening.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I have a lot. So when I was 6, and it's kind of what kicked it off. Like I remember getting up. I was young. I walked out of my parents' living room, and they had like friends over, and they were watching. It's probably gonna date me a little bit, but they were watching the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Goo, old guy.
Yeah, the first, and it was the part where he's walking down the alleyway, in that dark alleyway, and his hands are all stretched out, and he's sliding his claws against the thing.
Have you seen it since?
And hundreds of times. But when I was young, I was so scared. I slept on my mom's floor and my parents' floor for months. Like Freddy's coming to get me.
I had almost the identical. I was at my grandparents' house living with them. I think I was like 4 or 5.
The exact same movie? You watched Nightmare?
Exact same movie. And I walked out, and I remember because and I've seen the movie 100 times since, right? And it doesn't scare the crap out of me at all. But I peed my bed for like years. Yeah, from that single thing.
Because the dude's gonna get you in your dreams.
Yeah, like, the first movie you see as a kid is always like the scariest.
Yeah,
you're a kid.
Terrify the heck out of me. But anyways, that was.
But I would have
Halloween.
Oh yeah, Michael
Myers. That's not that's dated.
Yeah,
but it's just a good movie.
Michael Myers never dies. Like the dude, just like they
well, this is another conversation. This is for Twisted World movie day. I can really get into it. But anyway, what were you saying here?
But I like the sci-fi horror genre. So Alien and Aliens.
Oh really? You like Aliens and?
Yeah,
go figure, right?
Surprise.
Did you like? Yeah. Do you like Aliens sci-fi genre? Okay.
I do. No, for sure. So the horror genre, Aliens Part 2 was, of course, my favorite.
Is Aliens a horror movie?
It is.
Oh,
it is. Aliens 1 specifically
is a horror movie.
Aliens
2 is action horror.
Yeah. So Aliens 2, the reason I dig Aliens 2
like
so much
AVP.
is because it just had a lot of cool guns and.
Is AVP a horror film?
Action horror.
No.
Oh, that one's more action horror.
Yeah, that one's my favorite. I love AVP. AVP's sick.
That's your favorite?
If I'm picking a favorite horror movie, AVP's sick.
Of horror movie.
Yeah.
But
he's not a horror movie guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you bring one of the coolest aliens ever, the Predator,
into
the
sick.
mix, and
what
then
are
you
you
mix
guys
the fact
saying
that,
right now? Am I in a room with people that think that movie's good?
I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's cool.
It's entertaining. It's entertaining.
It's super cool.
Yeah, you're basically pitting two things against each other that we watch.
Pyramids under Antarctica.
Well, you can't. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I'm just saying.
The concept's cool.
Okay, I'll give you a pass.
Cool.
I'll give you a pass because sometimes, like, if I'm bored and there's like nothing on, you're like doing something in your room, I'll throw AVP on in the background.
Have you ever watched Prometheus?
So that's the other way. I have watched Prometheus.
I love Prometheus.
I liked it. It was.
I love
same universe.
Ridley Scott
story, but
Prometheus is different than AVP though because it's not
horror.
It's not.
No, I was gonna say it's not like dumb fun. Like I turn AVP on, I'm like, let me do this.
Yeah, no. Prometheus.
And then I look up and I'm like, oh, that was cool. Prometheus is like a very heady.
Yeah.
Like,
it's deep.
You sit down and watch.
It talks about I'm
not like doing my laundry and I'm like, oh, is this the part where he talks about the God hand in creation?
Right, absolutely.
See how I mastermind a ghost topic into aliens. See that?
Yeah, what did you do? Well, it's because you start talking about movies, and that's where we get off the rails.
So vampires. I do also dig vampires.
I thought you were going to say you believe in vampires. I was just like, we are really going there.
Well, I mean, and the reason I mentioned that is in their museum, they supposedly have an actual vampire coffin.
You went.
I mean, it may not have belonged
So when you first hear about the Warrens, when you first hear about the Warrens, here's what you hear about: an elderly couple that goes around and they help people and exorcists. Like the guy calls himself a demonologist. Now we're talking about a vampire coffin. You know what I'm saying? It's
like season 7 of
that's exactly. I feel like that's season 7 of the Warrens.
Like season 1 of the Warrens. Are vampires not demonic?
Dude, I don't believe in vampires. Listen. I like having fun, but I can't do that.
Why?
Maybe, sure. Maybe there's. I can't even. do it.
I think the lore of vampires is the vampiric germ, right?
It's
an issue of blood.
I know Cody well enough to know it.
Yeah, it's not like a ghostly or spectral thing.
Well,
it's actually a blood disease.
Vlad the Impaler was a real person, just so we're on the same page.
It's actually
a real person.
If it's a blood disease. Anyway, that's because it's like HIV. Anyway,
yeah, really,
it is.
Okay. But yeah,
imagine that press conference if Magic Johnson has to say, "I have to quit basketball because I'm a vampire."
Right.
That would be a very different press conference.
Very. So what you're saying is everybody that's died from HIV really didn't die.
No,
they're living in the underworld.
I'm not saying.
They're living in the shadows.
I have not commented on that at all. I'm just
drinking
saying.
on the blood of others.
Dude, I've started a bit. Now you're making me make comments. Anyway. So they have a vampire coffin.
Yeah, so
that's fake, obviously.
Yeah,
they're easier to believe in when it's small scale. It's easy to believe that these people actually like help with different types of supernatural things. When it's like, oh, we helped a small family, this and that, and then now we're talking about again season 7 of the Warrens.
But what if feeding into whatever was scaring them helped the individual?
So what do you mean by that?
The idea that not all the things that they encountered they believed to be real, but that they went in and
okay, I get what you're saying. It's like we are going to help this person,
like a doctor,
Okay, I've never thought of that. You brought up a good point. What if they're like, we may not believe that this is good? All right,
yeah.
Let's get into this.
Sure.
So what if the Warrens didn't fully? They were Catholic, this and that. They believed in spiritual stuff, but they thought they were going to go in and kind of like sugar pill. Kind of like give them something to get to put these people at ease, even though they didn't believe in it.
Well, I think
their
they
legend
probably initially believed in something. Right?
Yes,
they come from a Catholic background, which means they believe in demons, they believe in possession, they believe in exorcism. So I believe 100%. That they probably believe in that. That's kind of where a lot of this started. But the deeper you get into this, you're like, okay, a doll.
Well, because I think just like
how
anything,
we're going to handle that. We're going to put it in this.
Well, then you start
lock it up.
You start marketing yourself,
right?
Because at a certain point, like you said, you got to pay the bills.
But is it wrong?
Well,
that's my question. Is it wrong to go and market yourself that way?
Before all this money was
help
coming,
someone?
They did this for years, by the way, and they made a lot of their money from. They were painters, they were artists. So like they made paintings and they sold paintings. They were artists, and that's where they made their money. Their big money didn't come until many years later. So you can't think that they actually went after this because you can see a little bit of the trace of the money.
The timeline would be interesting. Did they turn into this kind of marketing machine?
Possibly.
Years. So like, what if for like 15 years?
So long,
15 years they did this.
Yeah.
Earnestly, whether it's real or not, they at least were trying to help people in some way.
Yeah.
And then, because again, this is the 70s, 80s. It's not like there's a big spotlight on them. It's a media era. Then people start hearing about them. They're getting interviewed, this and that. Movies start coming in about them. And they're like, all right, now we're going to flip it and start playing the marketing game. And then they slowly turned into what they are now, which is they're the cultural Robin Hood type.
For sure.
Supernatural people. And they have a museum. Like, did the museum open after the movies came out?
Probably.
That's my thing. It's like, so Andy brings up a good point. Were they helping people in some extent and then slowly morphed into what they are now?
Yeah, but I
don't know.
Because they've made money off the movies and the stories.
No, I'm not saying they're bad
away
people.
From that.
The silliness is what I'm saying, like the vampiric coffin.
These cases, whether the content of the case was real, meaning whether it was a true demon or not, the cases are real. Amityville Horror, real case. You can look it up.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one, let's talk about one of the most recent ones, The Devil Made Me Do It, right?
Yeah, that was the movie where there was actually a court case.
True court case.
Yes.
Looked it up. They battled this court case on the stand and the defense was that he was demon possessed. That was the defense in the real court case. You can look up the.
I didn't see the movie. What was the verdict?
So he ended up getting manslaughter, 10 to 20, and only served 5.
So, but
because of their stance of him being demon possessed.
So what you're saying is
Do they classify it as a mental illness?
Basically,
Yeah.
okay, but you're saying is
the court
their
system's going to be like,
no,
right?
Yes, but that is interesting. So what you're saying is their involvement did reduce his sentence to some extent.
100%.
So that's the stuff where the Warrens go back and forth. Is there's some validity, and then there's some nonsense about vampiric coffins.
Right.
It's like
Why is a vampire coffin going to be nonsense?
that's what
That's nonsense.
because it is nonsense. Like now we're having real talk. That's what makes these types of things hard. Is like you're talking about vampiric coffins, but then there's a more legit case going on here where okay, that's interesting. You actually did help this guy. So the court system did in some way acknowledge, even if they didn't acknowledge demons, that there was some mental health stuff. And they helped that guy in some sense.
I'd be interested to see what the story is behind the coffin, because my guess is that there was probably a story to be told, and that whoever this was believed it. I mean, you ask the question because you want is to either engage in your own experience or hear about other people's experience.
Yes,
it's the same thing with the coffin, right? Like regardless if they believe it or not, the person that experienced it had the coffin.
Okay, that's interesting.
And there may be others like it. This is how we dealt with it.
So that's interesting. What if, because again, we don't know the context. What if, hey, we got a call. There's a woman. She has a mental health problem. She says, hey, this old cabinet is a vampiric coffin. She's kind of losing it. They go, oh, okay. Well, here, we'll help you. We'll remove the coffin.
Here's how we're going to deal with it.
Here's how we're going to do it. Now, it helps the woman because she thinks the vampiric coffin's moved. But they took it back to their place. Years later, because they're in their 80s and someone else is in charge of their estate, goes, hey, that vampiric coffin, let's market that. People
well, there's a case probably
you know
involved with it, right? Yeah. The lady still had, regardless of if it's true or not, the lady had a story.
Yeah.
Gave it basically a foundation to a belief in it. And those that believe in vampires,
Aaron, we're pointing at
you.
Vampires and aliens. Absolutely.
Yes.
Are the ones that are the ones that look on website and go, dude, they have a vampiric costume. It's right next to the screaming suit.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's interesting. Yeah, because at this point, you're correct. At this point, they're beyond if they are both dead. It's not.
I want a samurai.
Now the money machine begins.
I just want a samurai suit.
Okay, we say the same thing about the Winchester Mystery House.
It'd be extra cool.
Yeah, no.
Right? Why has the house not been torn down? But because it's the most bizarre thing ever, and the lady might have been possessed herself, right?
So so it's like, hey, there's a story behind this. The people that are interested in this story, they're going to come see the vampiric coffin. Let's just throw it up. We'll give them the story.
Yeah. It's history.
It's history. It's whether true or not, it is some form of history.
Somebody
and that's what
they engaged in it.
The Warrens are a part of American history in the zeitgeist in some aspect. The movies brought them to that. But
you know that they founded the New England Society of Psychic Research, one of the oldest.
Well, of course, she's above average.
Right? So it's one of the oldest ghost chasing foundations.
That's what they say is that Lorraine Warren is above average.
So you're into ghost chasing. You know what? Cody, reach out to them like you did Birds Aren't Real.
Oh, yeah?
Do they have a number?
Reach out to the New England Society for Psychic Research.
Yeah.
And tell them, hey, we did an episode on the Warrens and we're interested in
a partnership.
Yeah, just see what we can get from them.
Send us some imbued objects.
Nah, yeah.
Just send us imbued objects. That would be so funny. If Cody's like, to prove his point, he gets like imbued objects sent to his home. It's like, I will prove this.
Yeah.
That suit of armor I was thinking should come with the blade of sharpness. If you remember that from Kung Fu Panda?
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
I know.
It cuts you just by looking at it.
Yeah.
He goes, it says if you look at it long enough, it'll cut you. And he goes,
yeah. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, we don't know. The Warrens could have had all the most positive intentions in the world. We don't know. Fact or fiction? What's your thought, DJ? Are they real?
Fact or fiction?
Was Lorraine above average?
Well, she definitely was above average. That's documented, and we know this. So, as far as the Warrens, Andy changed my perspective genuinely in this conversation.
I usually do.
So I do think. Oh, okay.
Someone always flips.
That's what he does.
No, because because you didn't flip me. You helped me because I wanted to believe, but I couldn't get there logically. But now I can get there logically, so my opinion now is
you helped him believe.
You helped me believe
through logic.
Oh my gosh. It made his day. Through logic and science, I
am complete.
You've made a believer. No,
Logic and facts.
You did help me.
I am Shapiro.
I am
Benjamin.
You helped me because it's like, so do I believe that all the cases are true? No, but I do believe that in some aspect of their careers, they were trying to help people. Some of it because I do believe in angels, demons, and stuff like that. Maybe some of that is real. Can't confirm it.
Right.
Obviously, with the court case. So I'm more of a believer now. I will not believe in vampires. I'm sorry, Aaron.
I know.
But
right.
Now I'm thinking like maybe they really were
going
going out trying
in
to.
your new apartment. You're going to be like, I should have listened to Aaron. I'm just saying.
He helped me.
Yeah, that's what'll go through his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put garlic around.
I think that the stories are true to someone.
Yeah.
Right. The what makes them valid is the idea that these were cases, and you have the documentation. Right. You have documentation. You have cases. You have records of these things, regardless if they believed it or not. Regardless if they got paid or not, they went out and engaged in this in some way. They gave it life in some way.
Yeah.
And
Something happened.
Hollywood has spun it into a story, and we like, the three of us like to go and watch horror movies.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. So that's why museums are made, and this whole thing is built up the way it is. We talk about, like I said, Winchester Mystery House. Like, why is that around still? It doesn't make any logical sense. But now it's a museum because it's crazy, and you start to see things built into nowhere, and there's a story behind it. People like stories. I've used this many times in other podcasts. If we had caught the Zodiac Killer, would we still be talking about him today?
Right.
Probably not, right? So people like mystery, the unknown.
100%. Oh, 100%.
So as far as whether or not I believe that all of it's true, I doubt all of it's true.
I think you made a good point when you said it's true to somebody, because on one aspect, you can think of a bizarre situation in your life, and it was documented and read 60 years from now. Someone would be like, I see skepticism in that, but you were there. Right. So to somebody, it's true.
Right.
Code, what you thought?
Code man.
Real, fake, any validity?
Embedded.
Maybe.
He's like, I want to believe in the samurai suit that screams.
Yeah, I think that there's some validity.
He's waking up.
Sorry, it's still early.
It is.
Yeah, no, I think there's some validity to it. I mean, you can. There's a line somewhere that I have to put in the sand where it's like, okay, well, that's, I kind of draw my line.
Can we all say it out loud?
Yeah,
vampiric coffins.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously,
Wow.
Yeah, right there. I mean, like, that's just like we're here. Okay, demons on board, totally. Ghosts, what? And then vampires, like, okay, definitely.
Yeah,
my line is somewhere in ghosts somewhere. There's my line is
ghost somewhere to some degree. It's the ghost curve.
My lines are definitely blurred in the spectral right there. Right. I'm like, I don't know about ectoplasm, spectral stuff. Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I believe in ectoplasm.
I don't know. There's some validity to it for sure. But I mean, all of it. No, I think the majority I think they're con artists, honestly. I think there's some validity to it, but mostly I think they're con artists. So,
and
could be.
I could agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think the difference between a con artist and what I was proposing is the idea of intent. If they're not making any money off of it when this originally is going down, and is essentially helping people at the same time helping themselves, you can argue it was a con. Right. But the idea is that if I give you a placebo and it makes you better, it makes you feel better, it makes you feel heard, it makes you feel recognized, am I doing something wrong?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what if you're not gaining though? This is more of a moral point.
The only gain would be you.
I know it's not about gain though. It's the moral is the lie. You're lying. But it's morally wrong.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But if it's real to the other person, is it morally wrong for me to
lie? Yes.
Remove that fear from them?
By lying, yes. If you're
is it
removing
a lie
it,
though?
Yes. If you're indulging in their insanity, yes.
I see what you're saying.
A grandmother has
dementia,
and
if you indulge in it, you're lying to her.
Okay, I see what you're saying. This is a different.
I've had many conversations with grandparents. That
at the end of the day, if they know they're lying about it, I mean, if it involves a lie,
it's intent.
Then it's manipulation, and it's
not to say that they didn't do this later on. I can't speak to that.
And here's where I stand on this.
Yeah.
I don't know that they didn't fully believe in what they were doing, whether it's real or not. I don't know they may had to have this piece of them that they believed and that they felt that they were needed to do their duty. And when this UCLA doctor tells her that she's above average, and all of a sudden she's like, I am clairvoyant, right? I think Cody, where I'm going to believe in the demonic pieces is Cody made a valid point that I just think that, I think that if demons are out there doing this, they just got nothing better to do. And so they doing it.
Well, I think they're
messing with people.
I think it's fear.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
fear.
all it is, right?
Yeah, I know. It's all speculation.
Terrorism.
I guess fear. Just trying to, fear. Trying to scare people.
Yeah.
So, when we'll ever know, maybe when we cross that light, we can ask some questions like, hey, are demons real? And we'll find out.
That's if I cross. I may stay and mess with people's record player.
That's true. Exactly.
I could see that. Like,
like right when they're about to fight a boss, I'll just turn their Xbox off.
Yeah. And,
right.
and
that's a different level
perhaps
of torment.
they're like, and they just rage out, and you're sitting there laughing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or perhaps become the vessel
like
for
that
the angels.
boss on.
But I
that
won't
boss
use
did
all
to me
my
on Elden
energy.
Ring
I don't
for
want to be
5,000
seen,
times in a row the other night. Yeah.
I've watched you.
So, anyways, listeners, let us know what you think. Are ghosts, demons real? Are the Ed and Lorraine real? Are vampires real? We're curious to know.
Please,
DJ,
please comment. Are vampires real?
Are vampires real? DJ, hey, we appreciate you as always, brother.
No, it's a pleasure coming on here and spitballing some craziness and some insanity. Where else do I get to have discussions about insanity?
That's
for
right.
having me.
It's just craziness. Good times. So, hey, listeners, Twist the World, we love you as always. We are out.
Peace out.